1, 2, 1, 2. Probando. ¿Me escucháis, verdad? Para la traducción. ¿No me escucháis? ¿Ninguna me oye? Hola. ¿Me oís flojo? ¿Ahora me oís bien? Perfecto. De lujo. Genial, entonces. Hola, sí. Ey, ey, ey. Ey, ya. Hola. Hola. Ah, ya, ya. Ahora sí. Hola, sí. Buenos días. Hola, sí. Ey.
Hello? Hello? Phil Cleaver, please, can you come up? Phil Cleaver, can you come up, please, for the mic? Thank you.
activities between 5 and
Estoy
7.
quedando el micrófono.
This is day one. This is day
No. Hola, no. Bueno, sí, hola, hola. Buenos días. Bienvenidos al foro, al International Educational Design Forum de 2019. Vamos a ver, antes de empezar con el director que os va a dar la bienvenida, quería, I want to make sure, how many people speak only English? Only. Only English, okay. Vale. No pasa nada, you'll be all right. ¿Y cuántos habláis español? Todos. Todos. Vale, bien. Vale, los que necesitáis el aparato para la interpretación, lo habéis cogido, ¿no? Lo tenéis. Vale, la cuestión es, al final de la jornada hay que devolverlo. Si no se devuelve, no se devuelve el DNI. O si no, se paga lo que cuesta, ¿vale? No vamos, en el recreo no vamos a devolverlo y volverlo a coger. Mañana, si volvéis mañana, eso sí que hay que volverlo a coger y luego volverlo a devolver, ¿de acuerdo? Y ahora ya, sin más, Bueno, otra cosa que quería hacer, el autor, el primer ponente, Phil Cleaver, va a firmar libros, tiene unos libros en español y entonces en el descanso estará en la puerta firmando sus libros, se pueden comprar y tenéis toda la información al final. Y sin más, le voy a pasar la palabra al señor director, un fuerte aplauso para él.
Vale. Bueno, muchas gracias. Yo voy a ser muy breve porque además hemos venido... no me atrevo ni a pronunciar los nombres porque yo de inglés, nada. Pero sí que quiero decir un par de cositas. Es decir, que son 3 años ya los que hemos decidido salir de la escuela, porque mayoritariamente sois los que no sois de la escuela, permitidme este minuto. Pero los que somos de la escuela sabemos que os recuerdo que estamos haciendo un esfuerzo por salir del edificio. Estamos a solo 3 kilómetros, a 3.000 metros, a 300.000 centímetros, me parece, pero la distancia a veces cuesta. Entonces, aparte de daros la bienvenida a todos los profesores, la bienvenida y las gracias, al final daré también las gracias, pero la bienvenida, en este caso, por vuestra presencia, a alumnos, a profesores, a ponentes, que son excepcionales, como podéis ver, y a los organizadores, que bueno, ya lo irán comentando. Hombre, yo resaltaría, ¿lo pronuncio bien? Lefteris, me voy a atrever, Lefteris y Ana. Si veis, hay una camiseta que hemos puesto de la escuela que pone pasión. No es casualidad, pasión, ¿vale? Pasión por el diseño, pero no solo por el diseño. Hemos hecho un pequeño viaje de 3 kilómetros para aparecer en una ciudad, que es nuestra ciudad. Es la ciudad que creo, o que creemos desde la escuela, que es la clave para que demos el salto. Pasión por el diseño, pasión por Alicante y de aquí al mundo. Es decir, para formación, diseñar, trabajar telemáticamente, viajar, aeropuerto, quiero decir, estamos en la ciudad perfecta, ¿vale? Ese es un poquito el comentario que yo quería haceros, que no ha sido casualidad, no es fortuito, está muy intencionado el aparecer en Alicante, el aparecer en las cigarreras y creo que está dando resultado, como podéis ver. Entonces, dicho eso, pues agradeceros también la presencia, porque sin vosotros no tendría sentido. Y bueno, también agradecer, en este caso, a la Agencia Local de Desarrollo, que se nos ha sumado con mucho entusiasmo, y agradecer también, en este caso, a Mari Carmen de España, que es la concejala, y que le voy a pasar la palabra, y que yo creo que se merece un aplauso por todo lo que está haciendo por nosotros.
Bueno, muchas gracias, José Francisco, Ana, por este gran congreso. Yo creo que va a ser todo un éxito, estoy completamente segura. Buenos días a todos los alumnos, a todos los que habéis querido sumaros a este congreso. Pues yo creo que estamos en el sitio ideal, estamos en el Centro Cultural Las Cigarreras, que en estos momentos está en proceso de transformación total. Al final Alicante está apostando muy fuerte por la cultura y por la creatividad. Yo creo que aquí hay muchísimo talento, lo ha habido siempre. Lo que tenemos que hacer es explotarlo y darle la oportunidad de poder hacerlo. Y yo creo que ahora, en la actualidad, con todo ese impulso que se está dando desde la administración a la innovación, a la industria tecnológica, a estos espacios culturales abiertos que posibilitan el que talentos como vosotros o de los que saldrán de aquí, de la Escuela de Arte y Diseño de Alicante, puedan apostar por llevar adelante sus proyectos, yo creo que es clave. Y lo único que tenéis que hacer es lo que pone en vuestra camiseta, tener mucha pasión, tener mucha actitud y ponerle mucho esfuerzo. Yo creo que esas son las tres claves para poder conseguir cualquier objetivo que os propongáis. Y lo podéis hacer en esta ciudad. Ahora no nos hace falta irnos a ningún sitio para poder hacer nada. Lo podemos hacer desde nuestras casas, nuestros ordenadores y más vosotros que podéis trabajar a distancia en cualquier lugar del mundo. O sea, tenéis una ventana abierta al mundo que yo creo que no se ha tenido jamás. Aprovechadlo. Yo sé que durante estos 3 días tenéis a profesionales que os van a orientar en distintas facetas pues desde de lo que estáis trabajando y estudiando y que os van a abrir los ojos y vais a poder coger ideas para vuestro futuro. Nosotros desde la Agencia de Desarrollo tenemos el proyecto de Impulsa Cultura. Se trata de, ya llevamos 2 años trabajando con este proyecto y se trata de ayudaros, impulsar aquellos proyectos para desarrollar vuestra creatividad, todo aquello que tenga relación con la cultura creativa. Y es una línea europea y yo creo que tenéis que aprovechar también todas esas herramientas que desde cualquier sitio, ya no solamente desde la administración local, que la tenéis, porque yo la verdad es que tengo un compromiso y una ilusión porque esto salga adelante, podéis cogerlas y podéis utilizarlas para hacer cualquier cosa que os propongáis. Yo solamente volver a agradecer a la escuela por trabajar con nosotros, que a nosotros también nos hace mucha ilusión que estéis ahí y podáis organizar todo este tipo de eventos y actividades y que sepáis que la Administración va a estar a vuestro lado para impulsar cualquier cuestión, idea, proyecto que se os pueda ocurrir. Yo estoy segura, porque ya me he sentado varias veces con vosotros, que en Alicante vamos a poder hacer muchas cosas de vuestra mano, de vuestras ideas. Y bueno, pues vamos a empezar a andar ese camino y nada, espero que sea un congreso muy fructífero, que toméis nota de todo y que por supuesto sigáis poniéndole pasión, ilusión y mucho esfuerzo. Muchas gracias.
Muchísimas gracias, Mari Carmen. Vamos a ver, antes de pasarle la palabra y el micro a la persona que ha hecho también que esto sea posible, quiero agradecer, esto que veis aquí no es nada, no sería nada sin la colaboración del equipo de voluntarios que veis con las camisetas. O sea que antes de nada quiero que le deis un fuerte aplauso al equipo de voluntarios. Hacer así. Luego arriba tenemos también otros voluntarios silenciosos, no se les oye, pero los que tienen el micrófono los vais a oír y son nuestros intérpretes favoritos de la Universidad de la UA, recién acabados, que están aquí de forma voluntaria para hacer de intérpretes en este foro. O sea que un fuerte aplauso para ellos. También un especial reconocimiento a mi compañera Lucrecia, que es la coordinadora de actividades culturales, que sin ella no estaría yo aquí en estos momentos. Un fuerte aplauso para ella. Y a todos los compañeros y alumnos que estáis aquí apoyando este tipo de eventos. Y ahora, without further ado, I would like to introduce Lefteris Heretakis.
Oh, here, over here.
Sí,
oh,
over here.
Hello. I'll present from here, or? Yes. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. This is a very important day because today we are beginning the first GLUG event in Spain. Okay, so this is actually a Spanish first because this day is being supported by GLUG. GLUG is an organization that supports events of design and culture all over the world. So, to make this, the idea from this conference began 5 years ago, to make design education more about craft by bringing together designers, industry, lecturers, and students to create a dialogue that aims to bridge possible gaps that have been created over the past 3 decades or so. So we call this group the New Art School. It's a group of people that wanted to make education more about craft. So we have been working specifically for this event for over a year to make this event as diverse and inclusive as possible. We also wanted to give complete freedom to our speakers and trusting their professional excellence. So we have not instructed, edited any of the presentations of the speakers as to what they should or should not say. So it's completely open. Yeah? Some conferences will say, okay, say this, don't say this. Yeah? the speakers are completely free to speak their mind. I want to thank so much ESDA, the Ayuntamiento of Alicante, all our sponsors for making this fantastic thing possible. Okay. If you have any questions, you can also email us on this email, and please use the hashtag of the conference. Thank you so much. Thank you. May I introduce Professor Phil Cleaver, the designer who thinks differently.
Thank you. Nice, guys.
Number 2 is there. Next one, number 2. It's number 2. We want number 2 presentation. Tell them we want number 2, file number 2, PDF number 2.
Can we have file number 2, please?
Yes, PDF number 2. That's it, number 2. Yep, that's right.
Right. I run a design company in England called et al. And et al means and others in Latin. The backs of the business cards we have 20 backs, and they all contain different faces because we put company profiles and company faces to products. This is just to say hello. I do 3 things. I'm a designer, an author, and an artist. This is a drawing done live in an art school in England in front of 200 students on an iPad. The text talks about the designers I was trained by, and my work is collected by different museums. This is just to prove I was actually young once. I was absolutely academically crap at everything but art, so I went to art school. This is what London looked like when I was a little kid. Very dull and very dark and foggy. This is me when I was 8 years old. I was given 2 live monkeys and a parrot, and the street photographer took my picture, and luckily my mum bought it. I've always loved animals, but I now go around the world and I eat them. Seven years ago, I was asked to become a professor at Middlesex University, and I became a professor in the creative industries. And the first year of being a professor had an odd effect on my life. Normally, wherever I go, the local design magazines do an interview or write up some text about me. I've done 130 odd brands, and this is my favourite interview because I haven't got a clue what it says. This is in Malaysia. I do a lot of work in Southeast Asia. I've just come back from 2 weeks ago. I was at the largest design conference in China, which is massive, talking on stage. So I do quite a lot of this stuff. Obviously, there's always a poster, and I end up designing posters for the events I talk at. So I was asked to go to give a talk in Tongji University in Shanghai, and I'm in the lift, and I'm looking at this poster, and I think that's the crappiest poster I've ever seen. A, they didn't tell me what the title of my talk was meant to be, and B, when they hyphenated, they missed off the words they hyphenated. So they inadvertently gave me a new award. They made me a professor in the Creative Sex University, which at my age is very good. I then took my daughter for her 21st birthday, and my name is Cleaver. And when the bill came, I suddenly become clever. I went to America. In America, I talked to 1,500 designers, and they gave me a PhD. So I thought this year of being a professor was very good. And then this arrived at my house. Professor Phil Cleaver, bar bollocks. Oops. That's a photograph of, because I talk in a lot of where English is not the first language, that's two birds kissing. It's a picture of a window in Penang. And the windows in Penang are quite interesting. I was in China, and they asked me if I would what do I see differently about being in China? So I said, well, the English Queen is a lot younger looking. And when we take our dogs for a walk, we don't do this. So this is the whole point. I don't know what the Chinese do when they're with their dogs. This is what I looked like when I was your age. So it's all downhill now. So enjoy being young. When I started designing and doing typography, there was not computers. So you drew everything. So you hand drew the type to do a layout. You then typeset it in metal. So you'd actually typeset every single individual letter. And that's what it looked like printed. Controlling and using metal type gives you an understanding of typography which you do not get from a computer. And that's the detail of it. I did a lot of under-ink wood type. This is a poster of the workman. And they told me wood type under ink would never catch on. But of course, life changed. I have a thing of always doing what you're not meant to do. This is a page of a book of quotations. A letterpress book of poetry. They told me you couldn't go in a composing room without a layout. So the first thing I did was go in a composing room without a layout. So this is constructed. This was what I was doing at university. Oops. So this poster is hand-drawn because it's the only way you could show the client what you wanted. And it's famous women of the 20th century. And this is a detail from it. So we just used to draw the type to show people. This was done at Wolf Olins with Michael Wolff. And it was finance for industry, and we changed it to investors in industry. I am dyslexic and everything else, so I can't spell, so I wrote 3I on my timesheet. And that's how that mark started. It's the largest source of finance capital in the world, and that is an English pound growing a pound. It's the first time any financial organisation used illustration. And the typography for this financial was very advanced for its period. So what I do is branding. So a tiny thing about the different areas of design. So this is marketing. This is public relations. This is advertising. This is graphic design. And this is branding. And I spend my life doing branding. The largest job I've ever done in the world was I redesigned Visa Worldwide. I drew the V, I, and the A. And Vivian Thomas drew the S, because I'm not very good at curves. I'm getting better. So we changed the corporate colours and changed this is one of the, I think, the second world's largest logo. We realigned it with different, all their different subsidiaries. Upper crust is a station. In every station in Great Britain, you'll find an upper crust baguettes. In America, not just donuts. This kid, during this photo shoot, ate 14 donuts and he never got fed up. So I realised they might be quite a good product. I have done work in Spain. Quite a few years ago, I did the branding for Grupo March, Costco's refrigeration company, one of your largest law firms. And we redid all the products for this company. Oops. So we redid every single of their packaged fruits and everything. This was for a clothing fashion chain in Marbella. This is for the National Housing Federation. It's part of their manuals. We're always doing manuals. Ways of showing how to control things with type. That's the full logo, but I've never had anyone kneel at one of my logos before. This is for Pearson. This is actually the sun coming over the world. This is for a firm of lawyers. If you've ever spoken to lawyers, you'll know they're not very human, and they wanted to be perceived as human. So he gave the C 2 eyes, and when it was their anniversary, we actually made a law firm smile. We spend longer arguing about it than we do designing it. It's divorce mediation, so divorce is about divide. This is a Bordeaux red wine glass manufacturers called Unique Taste. Sometimes the client said, "Are you actually going to charge me for that?" Fios is an Irish hedge fund, and it's the negative space you read. This is for government Quango, which had to carry, as part of the branding, the small typography, and our one was in design. We had to get the V&A, REBA, and Royal College of Art and Brighton University to agree on one thing. This is part of the collateral, part of how it all moves. The world is beginning to use computers to generate ideas, and it's exceptionally flattening design worldwide. And this is an example that I had an idea that I wanted a photographer named John Stone. I wanted to find a stone with a naught in the middle. So we spent 2 days looking along the Bristol Channel, and in the end we found stones, and we made O's out of all the different stones. But you don't think like that if you're staring in a computer. Sometimes the most obvious thing to do is to do what it says. So that's hidden art. And a red dot actually means it's sold. There's a chain of 10 shops throughout the UK. They're all artist-based. We get odd jobs. This was for Royal Mail, to verify which font they should use. So we actually had to look at all the 3 different manufacturers of one typeface called Garamond and work out which one they should buy. Arts organisation, they did 4 major different art areas. We even ended up doing the typography for the train timetables. So this is for First Great Western. When I go to present or get jobs, this is the first slide I show clients. There is no boring design. There's only boring designers or worse, boring clients, which normally means I either get the job or I don't before I start. We were designing a brand in Australia called Unimed. When we design brands, we always end up having to design a typeface. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, uses every single letter in the English alphabet. They wanted a poster to get people to come to a talk, and they said it was a bit like church, and there's pictures of Leonardo there. So they had this as a poster. If you think your life is confusing, imagine being told your mother's a virgin. So design can make anything interesting. I was doing an art gallery, wanted a symbol, and they were based in Edinburgh. And I said art galleries have logotypes. And they said, no, we want a symbol, Phil. That's why we came to you. So in desperation, I looked at the main map book of what Edinburgh looks like. And the main roads of Edinburgh make the shape of a dog. When I finished this, I didn't know their location. So if they'd been in the bottom left-hand corner, it might have been the dog's bollocks, but it wasn't going to work. It turned out they were on the nose. So the blue dot is the Ingleby Gallery. We took out the street names and put in the names of the artists. So this was the first year's art catalogue. And this is the second year's. This is an 18th century map of Edinburgh. And much to my assistant's horror, I got a tube of paint and did that on the top of the map. And she said, what happens if it goes wrong? And I said, well, that's what Photoshop's for. This is for the Central Illustration Agency. They're one of the largest illustrations agencies in the world. And before the websites, they sent around every single design company and art studio and ad agency got a box, which I called the pizza box, full of all their work. Then the website started and they said, could I do a series of 18 web banners typographically? So, of course, I ignored that and I did them illustratively. And we looked at the illustrator's work, and you have the different illustrators, but you get C for cat, I for eye, A for arse, C for cups, that has two meanings, I for eye, A for alligator or animals. We did 18 of these, and then they said, oh, okay, you're clever. Can you work out, we want to open a branch in Shanghai on the Bund, and we want you to do a visual which gets across that the CIA is in China. And sometimes you need a lot of luck because the CIA is already in the word China. And that's a picture of the Bund. It's not near, but I quite like the poster. We won what is equivalent, I suppose, of an Oscar in the film industry. We've won a yellow pencil for designing the Type Museum's identity. Susan Shaw was the founder. Monotype was the first time that typography in 400 years was mechanized. And it's actually all the original matrices. It also contains all the founder's type, which is type back to Queen Anne, 1705. And it contains all the wood type for D Little. And this is just some of the collateral. Each piece of stationery had a different font. The elephant came from trying to explain to the Japanese why we needed to move all the artifacts to the museum. So we related the artifacts to the weights of elephants. And it was like Hannibal going over the Alps. It's one of the postcards. Oops. Some of the collateral for people we're training and apprenticeships to learn the old ways. They changed the name from museum to archive. And looking in the A to Z of London, map book, the main roads make the shape of an A. Type is symbols for sound, but they're also symbols in their own right. So this is the toilet sign for the girls and the boys. The boys came out quite well. This is more of the type archives next to the Van Gogh Museum in London. I took all the text for the party and turned it into the map of how to find the place. This is we were asked by Pentagram New York to work out how to advertise some mugs, so I did U-Mug with different fonts. So that's what the mugs look like. And that's what it's like trying to raise money for the Type Archive. So in terms of most of our work's branding, but most of our typography happens to go into books. This book redefines the history of art from a world viewpoint, not from a European viewpoint. So we started the book on page 1, on the cover. This is some of the spreads. This is a quarterly magazine which comes out. It's about antiquarian books. We do 4 of these a year. We use a font which actually sets to the same way as metal type. So that's just 1 year's collection. Sampé is France's greatest living illustrator, and he's been published in about 14 languages. And I was asked to come up with the size of a book, the shape, and then we put enamel badges in the front cover, integrated the line drawings into the text. So that's a detail of the cover with the enamel badge. As it was going to press, the client who owns Phaidon said, "You've coloured up France's greatest living illustrator's work." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "I don't know if we'll get away with it." So I went to Paris to have lunch with Sampé. And he doesn't speak English and I don't speak French. And I came back and said, yes, he agreed. We had a very good lunch. The book sold out very fast, so we did 5 in total. And when they came out, Sampé did a drawing, taking his hat off. The drawing is worth more than the 5 books worth, the fees for 5 book designs. I immediately sent him more books, but I never got any more drawings. This won the Best Cookbook in the World award. Every time food is mentioned in the Quran or the Old Testament, then it appears in red in the book. So we were doing 15 books for an Arab library. So we recut Bembo, which was designed in 1495, to be the same weight as hot metal, set to the same matrix system as hot metal, but run off a Mac. So this just shows some of the font. And when it typesets, it looks the same as hot metal. And then there was 14 books done. It's just some of the covers. I've spent 30 years working with the Arabs because they've got a lot of money. This is for a commercial bank in Kuwait. It's 25 in Arabic and English. And we actually redrew the English to match the Arabic on the calendar. This is a Quran catalogue. We do a lot of different work for different bits of the royal Kuwaiti and Qatar royal families. So this is a catalogue to sell a collection of Qurans. This is the opposite end. This is doing every illuminated manuscript in the Victorian and Albert Museum. It's 3 volumes, weighs 3 kilos, and that's the slipcase. I nearly got carried away with 4-letter words, but I realised they wouldn't give me any more work. So I only did one, which says meow. I still do letterpress books, which are printed, literally printing from metal type. So you have a completely different visual look to that than you would ever have from anything off a computer. I never know what's coming up, otherwise I get stale. So, it's a bit of a surprise for some of these slides. Right, this is for Berthold Wolper. He designed 1,400 or 1,500 Faber and Faber covers. We had to curate the exhibition, design the exhibition, and do a book about his life history. So this is the branding, private view invites. And he designed this typeface called Albertus. That's the book which goes with the exhibition. So the book is a history of him. That's outside Faber and Faber's. He's arbitrary. This is the artwork for the drawing of that typeface, Albertus. And then the whole point of the book was to use drawings by himself, which are, everything is hand-drawn. So nothing is actually typeset. So every single book cover of the 1,500, he drew them or made them out of letters. And what it carries is the DNA of an artist, not the DNA of a Macintosh. This is part of the exhibition going up. So that was the exhibition. Back wall contained things. This is the limited edition you get with the book. It contains prints from the original blocks and the book. So these are all letterpress printed. From the original 1930s blocks. And the bag. We always end up doing bags. Everyone wants a tote bag. This is to promote a printer, so the art of printing. So we mix LIFO with letterpress. And then even when we get asked to do the mailing carton, we get carried away. So that's the mailing carton. French book covers. Wedding invitation. So we have fun doing any form of typography. So we get involved. This is a book, letterpress printed purely to be given to a guy when he was 90. Typographically, the map becomes a cross. This is a book in progress for Eric Gill and Soda Water, or should I say Vichy, because at least the latter has a little tang. The front of it is a facsimile of a book where the typography illustrates the text. And the back of the book is actually the letters from Eric, from Rennie Haig. And that's just a couple of the spreads. This is a brand we've just finished for an IT company. So it's a hummingbird. This is the launch pack. It went on everything. Cufflinks. It's animated, so the eyes move. And it goes up and down on the website. It's the 10th anniversary this year, so we added a 10. Just to get across the brands, although I know I'm talking about type, this came up because we'd done 26 years of et al. And 26 animal logos we found we'd done. So E for eagle, F for frog. So these are just some of the brands which happen to turn into animals. We get some odd jobs. This was for Macallan to package miniature malt whiskey. We hired Peter Blake to do the labels. And then there was a book. And there's the biggest slipcase I've ever made. The book comes out of oak, which is used to mature the malt. And then what's quite interesting is when you open the box up, you get this, which is actually the inside of a box, and it contains the different malt whiskies. And then everything else we did, we just had a lot of fun. Then the book is Blake at 80. The typography inside the book. That was on a barrel of whiskey, but looked like Peter Blake. Again, letterpress, but actually a postcard which was used to promote a spa. Again, using typography in such a way it makes pictures. Again, when Phaidon wanted this doing, they wanted a typographic cover, but then we had to make it work in a number of different languages. We do a lot of this as promoting a typeface for Janet for the Double Crown Club. They meet 4 times a year. It just displays that font. This was for Away Goose. So if you don't love yourself, no one else is going to. It's just be yourself, be you. There's another company called Be Unlimited. So a lot of events, if you win an award, they give you some horrible perspex thing to stick on your mantelpiece. And I was asked by the 26 writers to come up with a trophy. So they actually get a wooden trophy. They get this made up. So this is what you win. You win a chase of type with metal in. And there's 2 different chases. So each year I have to make 2 of these. And when you win, you get the chase. But of course, I couldn't resist it and then started printing it. And you start doing things when you print which you don't do if you're working at a computer. So the thing of actually printing something and under-inking it and changing things gives you effects you do not conceive because it's random. That's another one of them. And of course, I just have a lot of fun. So another one, this was an odd job for Hong Kong, True T-shirts. So it's called True Tees, and the client says, I have to have a lucky 5 in the logo. And if you look at the negative space, it makes the shape of a 5. And then, so I do the typography and they produce the T-shirts. If you don't love yourself, no one else will. I play with the red. So this is delete A and insert R, another book I did. I did this for a firm to promote some printers and an artist. And if you delete A from painting and put the R in, you get printing. It's open spine. It's just a couple of the spreads. Brian Harris was the main photographer at the Times and the Independent. The front end of the book is a text about his history of his life, and the back section is photographic. He turned up late for this photograph with Sharon Stone. He should have been on the right. But he said something and she turned and smiled at him, but he won't tell me what he said. And if the dog licked its lips, the book went in, the photograph went in. The other thing I do is book art, and I fold books. So I don't cut a book, I just fold the pages. So I fold all the pages up, and then I use ephemera on the end papers. So that's the Bible covered in Chinese communist graphics. This is an old book on Bologna and Italian families. This is the Bible covered in Vietnamese communist graphics. I live dangerously. This is Mao Zedong's Little Red Book, but turned back into a Christian book. And then there's a few of these books. I have art exhibitions I've had in Malaysia and places. So I produce an exhibition once a year. That's a photograph looking down on the tops of the books. This book comes out on the 2nd of December in England, and it's in English and French. It's 320 pages of the folded books. So that's the title page. The book is dedicated to my trouble and strife, which is wife, and bricks and mortar, which is daughter. So these are just some of the pages on the inside. It's in English and Chinese. That's me going through life. In Penang, in Malaysia, it's a very big tourist place, and they have these paintings on the walls, and people queue up and take their photographs sitting on the bike or whatever. So I queued up and photographed my book. So it's just a detail. Yeah, the end is close. David Holmes's book. David used to run an ad agency, and he was one of England's top illustrators. So that's the cover of the book. That's the picture of him dancing on a brush. The end papers carried the names of everyone he knew who worked on the book. He did the Christmas stamps. It comes with envelope from Hegarty, and it has all the original ads. I turned up with a photographer and didn't tell him we were coming, and this is what he was dressed like. That's him working in the studio. This collage contains photographs of every single person he worked with and everyone who worked in the book. No one knows, but my mum's in there, and my dad and Uncle Bert. And that's my daughter. This is a book which just come out. It's a photographic book on the 1980s China. The Chinese don't have photographs of this era. There's a detail of a cover. It's open, the spine's open like this because when you fold a double-page spread open, it folds completely flat. And it's mixed in the Chinese and English text runs together. This is the main picture of the main road in Shanghai. That little kid is actually saying that white man's got a very big nose. And the button, oh yeah, and we're off again. So there's just street scenes of what it was like at that period. And that's what you would have dressed like in 1984 if you were in Shanghai. It comes with a limited edition, so it comes with a set of prints. We have to design, not just design the book, but we have to design the posters for the exhibitions. That's at the beginning of the exhibition. We design the exhibitions. Back to branding. We're just finishing a Malaysian bank at the moment. I'm off to Vietnam on the 12th of December to do a Vietnamese bank. When you're doing branding nowadays, it used to be just for symbol and corporate colours and the bits, but now we have to design everything. So we give them a kit of parts. So we give them a logotype, a unique typeface, a complete colour palette, a complete visual language to work with, graphic formatting, tone of voice, which is the way you write. And we also are implementing smell and sound. So every time you go into one of their banks, it smells the same. And as soon as you pick up the phone and see anything, the sound is very important. Oh, what's that? I can't read Spanish. Oh, I think. Thank you. So that's the graphic format. So the typeface is based around the bank symbol. And it has to work in English and Chinese. Most banks have very strong primary colours, so because they want to be different, they got pastel colours. That's what branding used to be about, the stationery. It's all about this now. It's how it works well on the mobiles, smartphones. This is their visual language. We dictate the illustrative style, the weight of rule. They all use pastel colours. They use the corporate colours. The manual tells them how to actually hire the illustrators, how to mix it when they need with cutout photography. And it even works with Islamic, because they have an Islamic branch where you can't use photography. We've just launched a publishers ourselves in China. So this is my Chinese business card and my Chinese name. This just shows the look. This is the flyer for the launch at the Beijing Book Fair. Some of the books we've designed. We've won a lot of awards for books. This is for a photographer who lives in Penang. It's the largest Chinese community in Malaysia. And these are just basically small spreads of what the book would look like. This is that photographer's second book. It's called China Chrome. And what I would like you to notice is everyone in China keeps putting their hands up. So that's Mao. There's two people putting their hands up there. And what I like is even the car puts its hands up. I do layouts for books. I draw by hand. It's faster and quicker to work a book layout and system out than it is by using a computer. This is on fashion expressionism for Hong Kong. It's a fashion stylist, and it's 20 years of her work. And the English text does not relate to the pictures, so the English text reflects Chinese, but so although you have to turn the book round to read it, it's two different ways of looking. One's looking at the pictures, and the other is reading. We've just done this for an art gallery in Shanghai. It was an exhibition about fakes. And the interesting thing is the Chinese had never seen typography done like this. So the Chinese is first, and then the English hangs. So the English is made subsidiary to the Chinese, which the Chinese had never seen. Oh, right, we are near the end. This is my advert. Because I'm a commercial designer, I have ads. Right. I was asked to write a book about what they don't teach you in design school. It's what you need to know when you've left art school in the first year in industry. It's a get out of jail card. It's got quotes from lots of famous designers. And it's did you know? No. I wrote to Michael Baruch, Pentagram's largest partner, biggest partner in America, who wrote me back a whole page of A4. I'd asked for 10 words, but he ended it and he said he was too busy to give me 10 words. But he did finish the letter with good luck with a book, which seems original and smart. So you can use people's quotes. So that tells you what the idea of it is. It's did you know? I managed to get a swear word on page 3, so that's very good. It's dedicated to Alan Fletcher and Anthony Froscharg. It talks about what to put in your CV, what to wear to an interview. This is the page of the grid to show how the grid works. The editor kept telling me that page was blank. That's Anthony as a cross view of a face. So the main words in the book are made into faces. It has large quotes from different famous designers and students. What to wear to an interview. You have to sell yourself. I don't know. Oh, you have to communicate. So it plays typographic games in between the patches. That's batch. You've heard a lot of verbal. Anthony's back again. Then the books sold out 5 times in the English language, and then it's been translated into Russian, so I've typeset it in Russian. One of my assistants said, "What are you doing? Can you read Russian?" I said, "No." But I can work out the weight of type, the size of type, and visually what it should look like, even if I can't speak the language. So that's the Russian version of a book. That's the cover for the Russian book. That's the Korean book. So it came out in Korea. And then I got asked to design it in Chinese, which was a bit more of a challenge. So I put the Chinese words for CV to make the nose, a teardrop on form, follows the eyeballs, and then we typeset the whole book. And then the Spanish had a go. So we've got the book cover to look the same in every language. Apart from the the Spanish publishers decided to do a book with a word logo on the front. And they said, "What do you think to that?" And I said, I didn't think much to it. And it should look like that. And also the whole book's in 1 point size, and they did things like put the translation of annoying in very large type at the bottom of the page, when you can actually just translate the word. So this talks about John Hegarty talking about you have to close a computer, and actually it takes interesting people to do interesting work. And if you buy the book today at the end of this talk, there's a free dust jacket put on, and that's what the dust jacket looks like. So it's all in Spanish. So you don't have to have that cover I don't like. I handed the postcard out at the start because if I can get over 3,000 likes, I get another book to write. So that was in Vietnam. I handed them out. And everywhere in the world I go to the local art gallery and I put a postcard in. So this is in Bologna. This is in Cologne. When I was young, I used to go to shops and take things out. Now I'm older, I go and put things in the shops. It's harder. This is, I don't know where that one is, but it's in an art gallery. This is at Cobra Museum outside Amsterdam. There's 2 of them in there. This is Bilbao, Guggenheim in Bilbao. They had one. Oops, that's the Whitechapel. So my work appears in lots of art galleries. So at the end of this talk, could you please all go to the website and just like it? And if you don't like the book, you can always fold it up. It looks very good folded. The end. It is the end. Right. I'm going to leave you with 3 things. Always be true unto yourself. And always say please and thank you. How long have I got? How long?
Yeah, we can have some questions.
Right. This is that point when I normally look at you lot and say, have you got any questions? And you go, and you look at me and no one says anything. So, to help, I bought bribes. So this is the one in Chinese. So if you ask a question, you get something. So does anyone want a leaflet? And I'll sign the leaflets as well.
Un regalito, venga, una pregunta, un regalito.
It doesn't have to be an intelligent question, it just has to be a question. What's your middle name?
Hay una pregunta por ahí.
Do you speak Chinese?
No. Not a word. My great-grandmother was Spanish, but I don't speak any Spanish. Does anyone want one of these? Oh, there's 2 over there.
Hello, thanks. What do you think about the influence, the social media at the brand and design?
Sorry, I don't get, say that
The
again.
influences of the social media at the brand and design.
It's just another extension of a brand. So you basically, you have to control it. So we control social media for different organisations. We deliver a whole kit of parts which they then use over a period of time. So it's a very large part now of how a brand is received and used. Is that the answer? Would you like a leaflet? Can you give that? Thank you. Right. I got one more. There's a hand waving.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh.
I have a question about working in China. I noticed you have a lot of works there. Then, did you live there for a long time, or what's your?
China's got money. And if you put creative director or graphic design, senior designer, anything in a worldwide search engine for a job, all the work is in China. So last 30 years I've spent a lot of time in the Arab world. I now spend more time in China because I'm getting more work from China. So I go to China 3 or 4 times a year at least.
Thank you.
And that's the reason. So thank you. Right, because I've got something else, you see, just in case it went on. This is a leaflet about the typographic research unit, which is what we do. So it's just examples of some of the typography. Does anyone want one of those? Yep. Gentleman over there. And there's one over there.
What's your new challenge?
My new challenge. I'm going off on the 12th of December to Vietnam to design a bank brand, and the board of directors are all Viet Cong generals. So I haven't got a clue how that one's going to go. So that's my next challenge. I brought a few of these in case you had questions. Right. Who wants another one? Oh. Has got anyone?
Hello.
Hello.
When you do a book jacket, say for China, do you still use the word play in the characters, or is that impossible to do?
No, it's not, because if you can if the words translate okay, you can still play games. It's not very easy, because when you break a Chinese character down, it doesn't play a game like the English.
So how do you then, do you work with a translator?
Yeah, my partner in Malaysia is Chinese.
And then they pick out words, and then you can decide which ones will be coloured or not coloured.
It worked on my book jacket, and it worked in the actual book, but we got the Chinese rewritten so it would have the same meaning.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Would you let someone take you a leaflet? Right. These will run out. Okay. Right.
Hi.
Hi. You had your hand up a long time. Thank you for patience. You must want a leaflet.
What is your favorite work or your best to you? Your favorite work to you that you have realized? Project, yes.
Do I rest? Sorry, what work?
What is your best project to you?
Oh, my favourite project. I quite like the dog because I just like the fact it's a road map and it makes the shape of a dog. My favourite ever project is my next one. because I'm always want the next job. Tell me when we run out of time. Right. Are we running out of hands? Is that it? We've exhausted the hands. You only got to ask any simple question, like, what's your middle name, Matt? There's a question here. All right.
Hi, what do you prefer to do, logo or typography?
I actually quite both. I like doing both. I don't choose one or the other, but I have more fun with typography, I think, because it's a lot easier to control a client with typography than it is with logos. Logos can be quite troublesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, look. Yeah, I have got one left. Yeah. No, behind you. Behind you.
Hola. Hi.
Hi.
I just want to ask, what inspires you the most?
On the whole, it's living. It's going to different countries, seeing different things, living in different, working and living in a different way. I find the inspiration in life, going around flea markets, doing lots of different things. There's no specific thing. And I still read every design magazine I can find and look at everything. And I don't look in the computer for inspiration. If you look in a computer for inspiration and you put the word horse, it's like wearing blinkers. All you see is pictures of horses. If you go to a library and you pick up books, you'll see hundreds of irrelevant images, and it's those irrelevant images which give you the concepts. A computer's a fantastic assistant, but it won't give you an idea. And the worldwide graphics is being dumbed down because people just spend their whole life looking in computers. We done? We're done? Yes. Okay. The first 4 people that buy a book will get a leaflet.
We are going to give a present. We're going to give a present. Yeah. Of course. Picture. A picture. Picture here, over here. Phil. Okay. Our next speaker, Murat Germen, famous photographer and lecturer from Istanbul, is going to talk to us about his work in design education, photography. Thank you.
Actually, can we turn this light off if possible? Comes right into the eyes. Is it possible to turn this?
You want this one over there?
Yeah.
This one over here.
Yeah, exactly. That's very strong. I feel like I'm being interrogated or something. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. Hi. Let me check the time. Okay. I was educated as a city planner and an architect. Then I am not doing any of these professions right now. My name is Murat, by the way. I live and work in Istanbul, Turkey, a city that I'm deeply in love. Now at this time, I practice photography, not architecture or city planning, and I do professional photography. I work at this foundation university called Sabancı University in Istanbul full-time. And also I'm an artist collaborating with different galleries in Turkey and also internationally to show and sell artworks. So my life is centered exactly around photography, something that I'm, again, deeply passionate about. Today I'm going to talk about, the title of the talk is Crafted Materiality Enough to Disturb Digitality. So I started analog, with analog processes. I drew, I made a lot of models, so I was, in good terms with many analog creative processes. I attended Istanbul Technical University for a city planning degree, and then MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology in the US for architecture degree. So let's read a little bit. I had a good grasp of the logic used to translate analog rationality into digital counterpart. At the time, I was quite active in both tracks, building many physical and digital models in order to be able to better appreciate notions like volume, mass, space, and circulation in architecture. Thanks to this dual preoccupation, I managed to keep both analog and digital skills alive. These are some pencil sketches I used to do as a student of architecture. Some more pencil sketches. These are ink drawings. The texture that you see up there in the drawing is actually something called letter tone. You probably don't know this